Oh my fucking god. Hello everyone and welcome to Anime Club After Dark, the podcast that delves into all things anime, manga, and otaku culture related. I'm your host, Shotaro, and joining me tonight we have the Tsar of Source Material, John.
It's too early for this.
Indeed it is, even though it's noon my time, it's still too early. But yeah, today we will be talking about the wonderful world of Overlord and all the boning it includes. This will be a spoiler cast, and we will mainly be talking about the light novel, hopefully, as of 13 volumes, which are currently out. So if you have not read up to there, or if you don't care, just letting you know that that's going to be happening. So, let's start with the wonderful cast of Overlord. So,
With
the
Bone
main
Daddy.
character,
Bone
yes,
Daddy.
the Big Daddy himself, who has many names, but I guess we'll call him Ainz because that's how he is fondly referred to by his many, many followers. Yeah, I think that, even though he's the main character, I don't see much personality in him, honestly. He's I don't know if that, just FYI, I have not read a lot of light novels, whereas John has, but I don't know if is he supposed to be a self-insert, or I'm not entirely sure, because I can see him having his own personality, but at the same time, I kind of don't see the personality at all. Or maybe because he's not a person, he's actually just a bone.
He's an undead.
You know?
Get it right. Gosh, don't you even read Overlord or watch the anime?
No, I don't. I try and forget it.
In my experience of reading a bunch of, especially isekai novels in general, Ainz actually has a bit more personality than any other one. I wouldn't say he's a self-insert, mainly because in the novels, at least, he is a lot of inner monologuing, which just always goes back to his character setting, like, oh, I have to do this for my friends, oh, I need to protect the NPCs of Nazarick, oh man, I'm a fucking idiot, I hope these guys don't realize that and then betray me, but then again, in the novel, we don't see a lot of him, of Ainz, in general as well, compared to every other isekai, because it's, the light novel is really just about world building, learning about different factions and different people, and then Bone Daddy coming in at the end and just steamrolling everything.
Yeah. You mentioned the inner monologuing, and I think that's the best part of Overlord, at least for me, because he just goes so far up his own ass, the author, in describing every single detail of every single eventuality and every single game mechanic. And I'm this is actually kind of interesting to see all your little ponderings on every single thing. It's this is pretty cool. And
the reason for that is because, back before he became Ainz, when he was still Momonga, and then he was still the human, Suzaku Satoru or something? Satoshi?
Girl.
I don't remember his real name, right? It's in there 5 times, okay? Fuck. Who needs to remember the Japanese name? Anyway, but when he was still a player in the real world, I remember Maruyama released a special, it was with the Blu-ray set, I believe, the first season's Blu-ray set, a special, light novel chapter where it describes what he does when he gets off of work and goes home. And it's super, depressing because basically Suzaku or whatever, Momonga, in real life, he doesn't do it. He has nothing in his house except the giant supercomputer that he links up to dive into. He has no TV, no clocks on the wall. He doesn't have any family. He's described before. All his family's dead. He has no girlfriend, and everything he does, he just works like a slave to come home, so then he can just play Yggdrasil, and that's literally all it is. And in that chapter, it just describes how he feels nothing because he's just like, life is boring. It's kind of pointless. He has nothing to share it with. But whenever he comes online and plays the game, he's like revived. So that's why he's a lot more animated when it comes to talking about the game. And I'm not entirely sure if it's canon, but I do remember that. I'd say it's canon just because Maruyama did write this and it came out with the Blu-ray. So I'm not sure if you've actually read this show.
Is this the one where it was like the origin story? Not the origin story. It was like, yeah, it was the origin story of the guild.
Yeah.
I think I have read this then. I read all the extras that you linked me in your illegal link.
Hey, I didn't have the proper means to get to them, but now that I do, I own it all right?
Okay. I don't. I'm still illegal. Yeah, I mean, what part of that is a bad life? No. Yeah. I mean, wait. So, what was the point of bringing that up?
No, just to talk about how the reason he inner monologues a lot and knows so much about the mechanics is just part of how he is.
Oh.
As how Momonga is as a person, which is why it bleeds over when he's in Ainz.
I mean, I guess so, but like, he's not like stupid. He doesn't like gush over it stupidly. He like actually thinks about it properly, and he has like interesting things to think about that kind of matter, maybe. So, but yeah, that's cool. And like also a big part of Overlord is with the inner monologuing, you know. He's trying to, like, you know, his motives are a bit strange. He's trying to protect Nazarick as well as, like, spread the word of his existence to the world. But both of those, like, motivations are pretty unnecessary, honestly. Because, like, if he was a little more rational, he would be able to tell that he does not need protecting and there is no one else there.
See, and that's kind of the like problem. So when he first comes to the new world, right? He thinks everything is like he's testing a bunch of things. He's like, all right, so how do these systems work? Is this still Yggdrasil? Is this a new world? And he doesn't know. And then when the first big event happens, when Shalltear becomes brainwashed with a world item, that's what shook him to his very core. He couldn't, like, in the anime, like, you know, he kicks the ground like a billion times for like 30 seconds and he loses his temper and he can't get calmed down by that emotion suppressor because he didn't think that there would be other world items, which becomes a huge point for his, like, how he perceives the world. The fact that there are still world items around means they can still fuck with him because, you know, Momonga or Ainz himself, when he was still Momonga, he's not a good PvP player, right? He's never beat Touch Me, who's like rank number 2 or 3 world rank, and he's the only way he can really win is through his wits because he's a mage and he has like what the average player learns 200 or 300 spells. Ainz knows like 700, right? Some insane amount of number. It shows like he's fucking addicted to the game, first of all, and he's just extremely scared what will happen if he does lose. And it doesn't help the fact that the NPCs of Nazarick, you know, hold him in such high regard, like Sasuga Ainz-sama, because everything he does apparently has no mistake. And he feels that pressure, and in the anime and in the light novel, he always questions that. Like, he tries to dispel this like mysticism about him, about like, I'm not that smart, I can fuck up too, guys. But all the NPCs are like, "Ha, you're so humble, Ainz, Sasuga Ainz-sama." And he's just like, fuck, what do I do now? And everything that he tries just backfires, and it's hilarious. I love it. He's so meticulous, and yet it always just gets like thrown out the window because of something lucky happens.
So why doesn't he like just come clean to his underlings that he's an idiot?
So he's tried to come clean before, like a little bit, but
oh my god, it's like those freaking romances where the girl is like, I love you, and then the guy's like, what? I didn't hear you.
No, he's not a DQ. He's not a DQN. It's more like, hey guys, I'm human too. I err all the time. No, God, you're so humble, Ainz. No, but seriously, if you ever think I said something stupid, please tell me. Oh, we would never say such a thing, Ainz. And that's how it rolls. And he's just like, fuck, what do I do? These people don't listen. They think I'm some sort of god. Because, you know, I get it. He's the number one supreme being. Because these NPCs, unlike the other people of... What's that new world called? Whatever the new world's called. They were created and they retain their memories from when they were in a guild. And the fact that they see the supreme beings as, oh, they could literally just make us out of thin air. It's like, you know, to them it's an existence of God. That's why they would never go against his word. Except, like, that one time with Sabas.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you say that, like, he's tried to come clean and that, like, they don't listen to him, but, like, he still is constantly worrying about putting on an air of, like, being smart and knowing things. So just why doesn't he just drop the air?
He's in too deep. Like, he wants to be someone of respect to Nazarick, right? That's why he has those books, like, how to lead and stuff, and he practices in front of the mirror how to be regal and, like, hand commands to, like, so noisy, and then waves his hand and everyone stops talking.
That's actually kind of funny how I like how, like, you see him in front of the NPCs doing something kingly, and then you flash back to him practicing that like 100 times.
Yeah. Because, you know, again, Momonga Suzaku Satoru, I want to look up his name now because I don't remember. But the human guy, Momonga human, he doesn't know how to do any of this, right? And even in his company, he views everything like a Japanese company would, where it's like, oh, I have to be the CEO, and because I'm the CEO, I have to have this, like, type of demeanor and this type of bearing around me, because if I show weakness, then they won't follow me anymore. And he really loves the NPCs of Nazarick, right? He calls them his friends' children because that's what they are to him. To a guy who treats the guild like his own family, he's really afraid of, like, losing their respect. And since they're so smart, he doesn't want them to figure it out, because he's very afraid, right, of the guild just being like, oh, you're not as smart as we thought you were, Ainz. Fuck this. I'm gonna fight back. Even though, like, he knows. It's really weird because you're right. He knows that the guild would never betray him. The NPCs of Nazarick would never betray him. But what if they did? You know,
it's kind of contradictory, but
well, I mean, you know, with because we've seen instances of, like, world items can obviously work, right? We have the downfall of castle, I believe was called, with Lady Carrie uses to brainwash Shao-Tier. But then we also have an incident where, like, Sebas, where he decides, you know what, I'm gonna save Suare, and I'm not gonna tell Ainz. I'm not gonna tell anyone about this. And then, you know, Demiurge was like, all right, we've been betrayed by Sebas. He doesn't want to listen to Ainz. And then Ainz is like, there's no way Sebas would betray me. He was created by Touch Me, the most loyal person I know. And it turns out, it's like, well, no, Sebas didn't technically betray Ainz. He just wanted to do something on his own. He was showing free thinking, something that Ainz actually wants from his guardians, right? Not to always listen to his orders, but to move in regard to protecting Nazarick at all costs. And it was more of just like, you get to see the NPCs' personalities.
Yeah, so speaking of the NPCs of Nazarick, I think Sabas is the most standout NPC in that he has quote unquote defied Ainz and, like, established his own sort of autonomy the most out of the rest of the NPCs. Don't get me wrong, I love all the NPCs. They're all really quirky and funny and intense in their own ways. And they're really fun to read and watch. But, like, when you boil them down, all the NPCs are really just the same person. They're all just like, all I care about is Ainz and pleasing Ainz. And, I mean, there's only so far you can go with a character like that. I wish, because like you said initially, Overlord is a lot about the world, and the plot kind of follows. It doesn't really follow the main cast of Nazarick that much. It skips around between the this new world and all the different kingdoms and governments and stuff like that. But they never really spend a lot of time developing the actual Nazarick characters, and I wish that Maruyama would do that more, so that we get more Sebas moments for the rest of the characters, where they are still loyal to Ainz-sama, but they have some more motivations in addition to that. You know, that would be nice, because all the characters are really fun. I just wish they had a little more depth to them.
Yeah, and the only reason Sebas stands out is because every the 41 maids were created by every character, so everyone made their own NPCs, right? And Sebas was made by Touch Me, and Touch Me's remember when he's first introduced, he saves Ainz and is like, justice is here, and he's over the top. And obviously when he made Sebas, he was like, you're gonna have 1,000% justice, all right, in this Nazarick full of negative 5,000 want to kill all humans monsters. Sebas the Dragon Man is gonna be 100% hero. And I feel like that's why he helps people, and it seems a lot more interesting, because everyone else is just negative 500 or negative 1,000 justice, if you look at their character cards at least. And that's why they kind of they don't really care about anything but Ainz. But Sebas, he would rather, if they had to rule in fear, Sebas would have reservations, and he would feel unpleasant with it going about, but he would never betray Ainz. So you're right in that aspect. They all at their core would be we would never betray the one supreme being who has stayed here, just because again, going from an environment of where you've seen 42 people who create more of you, and then all of them leave except the one, then it really feels like their last god. So they don't want him to leave.
So in the recent novel, even though I read it pretty recently, I kind of forgot exactly what happened.
How dare you forget about the Pope, Pope Nia.
Oh my god. Wait, so Ainz goes missing, quote unquote missing, right?
Yeah, because he has a battle with the Seven Sisters.
Yeah. Wait, so in the NPC's eyes, he's not missing though, right?
No.
Okay. So, but when they were hinting during the novel that he was gonna go missing, it was because they've hinted at him going missing before, because he's like, if I ever am not here, you have to keep going on, you have to do this and this, and he made plans for if he wasn't here, what would the protocol be, and then oh my god, I'm gonna go missing, then he goes missing, but the NPCs still know he's there. But I'm like, what? So
the reason he quote unquote dies, right, is because he has to battle the Seven Sisters. That's the Pleiades, whatever. With I forgot the new girl. The youngest sister joins on as commander, and she's actually super smart and tactical. And the deal was, they didn't want the Sorcerer King Ainz to be out in public so much. Albedo and Demiurge were against this. They're like, yeah, it's great that you want to go to the Holy Kingdom, but we can literally just steamroll all of it and just take the refugees. But, Ainz is like, no, I don't want to do that. And he openly defies him. It's like, no, I have my own plan, right? And then Demiurge and Albedo are like, oh, he must be thinking of something super deep. But then Albedo was like, you know what? I need you to come back because this plan is fucking crazy. We don't need you out there, all right? Demiurge has this all handled. Don't worry about it, Ainz. And he's like, nah, I'm still going to do my thing. So then that's why they send, or Albedo sends the Seven Sisters to go fight Ainz. And it's like, yeah, if you lose this, you're coming back for a year. And you can't leave Nazarick for a year. And he was like, all right, game on then. And then it kind of cuts away, and then he's missing for a couple months. Then he comes back with reinforcements. So something happened during that time. I'm not sure if he won against the Seven Sisters, and then they just sent out Pandora's actor to look like Ainz to go save Nea and the rest of the Holy Kingdom during the last attack. I really don't know, and that irks me because I'm like, fuck, Mariyama. I want to see what happened. Like, first of all, you skip the Seven Sisters battle scene, all right? Because in our mind, there's no way that Ainz would lose to the Seven Sisters because their overall level is not higher, or rather, they're not level 100. Like Entima's like level what 50 or something. She's low level. Yuri Alpha's like only level 80, I believe. So none of them are like can compare to a level 100. Like Sebas, for example, is level 100, and that's why he's one of the top 5 people to fight. There's only like I think he said there's only 7 or 8 people in Nazarick that can rival Sebas in strength.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just yeah.
Yeah, I brought it up because like they've been hinting at him missing, and I think it would be really interesting to see how Nazarick would work without him. What would they do? Would it just be like a free for all?
Definitely not. So the NPCs of Nazarick were instructed already. Like if I am never not here, or if something happens to me, like when he went to go kill Chateau, right? And then he was like, if something happens to me, I want you guys to all run back to Nazarick, pull everyone out, and defend, and like just stay hidden and gather information. I feel like that's their first objective. If there is ever a force strong enough to fight their supreme being, of course everyone would be pissed and they'd go on a killing frenzy and just like try to destroy the world. But I'm pretty sure they'd heed his warning. Like, all right, well, if I did go missing for some reason, everyone returns to Nazarick, everyone's on high alert, and they're just gonna bide their time. And I because it's the smartest thing to do, even in a real world setting. If you don't have information, then they could take you out. And he really tells us he really like hammers this into the NPCs. We need information. We can't move without information. You're gonna get blindsided and you're gonna get super fucked. And when he fights Shaltir for the first time in the volume 3, Demiurge and Albedo didn't think he would win, and Cocytus even was like, yeah, no, Ainz is like gonna lose because Shaltir is super strong, especially since she has her world item gear and he's not wearing any world item gears. It's like, oh man, it's like he's 3 times as likely to lose than he is to win. And the only reason he can pull it off is because he has experience in PvP and he knows how to use cash items and trick Shaltir into using all her shit. So that way, you know, it's like resource management. Like she has a certain number of skills that can make it so I can't kill her. And that's how he plays her out because she's not cautious. So I believe the Guardians then, at least Cocytus, Demiurge, and Albedo, learn that, yeah, you can't just think, oh, I'm so strong in physical abilities and skills that I can just steamroll you. It's like, yeah, you should be able to, but because you're so arrogant, you're not going to see how I can fucking destroy you without even, like, you know, breaking a sweat because it was all part of my plan.
Yeah. Well, I personally think that if Ainz left, then they would all be at each other's throats because they're all like pretty strong-willed and stubborn, and they're all like most of them are equal-ish in strength. So I really don't see them being a cohesive unit without Ainz. I'm pretty sure they'd all go crazy. They'd all go berserk.
I really don't think so because they still respect hierarchy in the guild in Nazarick.
Yeah, but I think they all have a different sense of what being loyal to Ainz would entail.
Yeah, they'd all definitely do their own thing for the glory of Nazarick, and you know, Demiurge would just continue to capture and torture humans and basically stealthily take over the world and put puppets everywhere, which is what he was doing. And versus Albedo, she'll just like go out and have a raid force, an elite raid force to just fuck up whoever says anything. And then you got Sebas, who is like, I'm trying to build relations and stuff with people. So yes, you're right. It would be very chaotic in a sense that they all have different types of ambition, and they definitely think differently about how to serve Nazarick. Except, I would say that it may be like that, but in the end, they all want to serve Nazarick still. So I don't think that any conflicting ideologies or methodologies that happen, I believe they would be resolved very quickly because they talk to each other when that shit happens, and then they try to reason, and the rest of the Guardians will talk about it together. Like let's say
Girl,
Demiurge.
what novel are you reading? The Guardians always at each other's throats about what is the correct interpretation of Ainz's words.
Yeah, but they don't act on it before they talk to each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll at least talk to each other, yell at each other, just like his guildmates, because, they all have the personalities of his guildmates, and then they'll vote on the best course of action. They wouldn't just be like, you know what, fuck this, I'm out. I'm going to go do my own thing for the glory of Nazarick, except Albedo, because she does that, where she's like, fuck this. Yeah, remember, she wants the elite squad to go kill the other supreme beings.
Yeah, but she hasn't done it yet.
No, but it's a plot point. It's something that Mariyama put in there for a reason. He's gone back to it twice.
There's a lot of things that Mariyama has put in there that has not come to fruition.
Yeah, like the half-elf, half-godkin girl. The platinum dragon lord and regret, who have a guild weapon. There's a lot of things I'm still waiting on. I think it'd be super interesting to see, we saw in volume, I believe, 10, when he goes and meets the Frost Lord dragons, and they're, like, super weak. He can kill them in one hit with Grass Part. But then there's the Star Platinum Dragon Lord, who's like the highest ranked dragon and super strong. And even he couldn't fight Shao Tier in full world champion gear. But then again, he just attacked with his strongest attack. Then Shao Tier stabbed him in the shoulder and he just ran away. So we don't really know how strong he is. According to one of the maids or something, they say that the half-elf, half-godkin girl is as strong as Shao Tier. They're at least stronger than the maids. But
Are we talking about the girl from the Holy Kingdom?
yeah, no, not in the Holy Kingdom. From Slain Theocracy. She's half. It's the black and white girl with the split eyes.
I swear to God, in like the first few novels, I thought the Holy Kingdom and the Theocracy were the same thing. Because they're both like religious.
No. Holy Kingdom.
I'm pretty sure he used like ambiguous terminology. He never put slain in there. He was just like the Theocracy initially, and then he finally like differentiated them. And I'm like, what's the difference between a Holy Kingdom and a Theocracy?
Because the Slain Theocracy was founded by the 6 gods, right? The 6 players that came there and then decided, well, we're only like level 50 or 70. We're not. First of all, the 6 gods are hilariously weak because they're not strong, but they're stronger than the NPCs, which is why they refer to them as gods. So that's why I think it's interesting that that these low level players are revered as gods, but then they've never met someone as strong as Ainz. That's why I'm just like, I don't know how they were supposed to like fight against them, because according to the first like is it the second? It might be the first volume when he fights the Sunlight Scripture. They summon a 7th tier angel, right? The highest ranking angel that they were able to capture into that magic crystal was 7th tier. And Ainz is just like, what child's play? Because to even fight him, you need to have at least 8th ranked or 8th tier magic. And I don't remember that girl's name. Half elf, half godkin girl. But she's apparently as strong as Shao Tier ungeared without world items, which is insane because she has base stats of a level 100. I definitely want to see more of that. But the Holy Kingdom is just they're just super religious. Like we have the one gods, and all demi-humans are trash. Versus the Slain Theocracy, they're like only humans can live, and we have the scriptures because we have God.
That sounds like a lot of God.
Well, they develop differently. You know, the Slain Theocracy developed with the player characters versus the Holy Kingdom. They didn't develop with the player characters. They developed with the ancient texts. Like, they got strong on their own without player characters.
That's why they got steamrolled.
Well, because, strong in that world is relative, right? They have people who can cast 3rd and 4th tier magic. They're like, oh, we're hella strong because literally no one else can do this except maybe Fluter in the Empire, who can apparently cast 5th tier magic. But then the Slain Theocracy is super secretive. No one knows anything about the Slain Theocracy other than they have the scriptures and they worship the 6 gods, which is a legend that everyone else views as it's just a legend. But to the Slain Theocracy, they're like, no, we literally have scriptures. we have things from these player characters. We know that they were gods. So that's like the difference between the Slain Theocracy and the Holy Kingdom. One has proof, one doesn't.
Do you think the Slain Theocracy with the 6 gods is gonna be like a time travel thing, where Ainz was one of the 6 gods?
Definitely not.
And then he went back in time.
Well, like the 13 heroes and the 6th god, right? 6th god, freaking Drake, get out of here. It's referencing players that came there before him. That means that Ainz was teleported there as well as everyone else who was still logged into Yggdrasil when it was shutting down, right? That's the premise. But they all come in at different times. So it's possible that in the future, more player characters might show up. Though, what I don't understand about Maruyama and Ainz and stuff, it's like, you know that the Slain Theocracy worships the 6 gods, and from the very first novel, you know that they use Yggdrasil weapons and spells. It's like, so why don't you just go steamroll their country and like learn about the 6 gods? I don't understand. Like he doesn't pay it any thought after the first initial battle with the Sunlight Scripture of like, oh yeah, the Slain Theocracy has things from Yggdrasil, and that's it. They don't talk about it anymore after that. It's just like, yeah, the Slain Theocracy we should be careful of because they hate anything that's not human, and that's it. I'm just like, wait. Didn't you just like fight them and they had shit from Yggdrasil? And they have like the sealing crystal, which sealed a 7th tier spell from Yggdrasil. Isn't that more of a fucking trigger to like you should go investigate this country than it is to like, oh, I need to establish myself as Momon the Adventurer and then become Mithril or Adamantite rank and do shit for this shitty kingdom and then partner with the Empire. I don't understand any of the NPCs in Nazarik's thought of like, we need to go and get the Empire or the kingdom to fall and take over that before they went over to the Slain Theocracy. It just seems like it'd be a lot more simple to go and steamroll the Slain Theocracy, show your might, learn your shit, learn about the 6 gods, and then come back and be like, hey, we just destroyed the Slain Theocracy, which scared all of you because you guys couldn't do anything to them because they're hella secretive. Like, even the Empire, Jerkniv, however the fuck, the Emperor. Jerk Beefy. El Nix Dono. Even in Volume 10, again, he when he goes to the arena, he's trying to talk to Silver Canary, the people from the Slain Theocracy. And he's trying to establish, like, oh, we should have an alliance. And then Ainz just shows up and then scares them all away due to convenient plot point. Super funny.
That was funny. That was quite a coincidence.
They're all coincidences about how Ainz, like, gains favor and all this stuff. Because everyone fears him. They don't know about him. Because they've never met a level 100. And in this world, in this human world, new world, the highest level people get up to is like, 35 or 40 at most. If that. Like, Evil Eye is one of the strongest beings in the new world. And yet she doesn't hold a candle to a level 100 guardian.
Yeah. That's another thing in Overlord where it's all about coincidences and misunderstandings with Ainz.
Yeah, there's a lot of Ex Machina stuff. But that's what makes it enjoyable to me. Because
it's not really Ex Machina. It's just like everybody else being stupid.
No, it's definitely Ex Machina. Because Maruyama was like, oh, what a coincidence. Also, guess what? Look at this favorable thing that's about to happen. Ah, coincidence. Or like it.
But like it's not even a coincidence. Like they make it a coincidence by being like, oh, he has to be here because of this. Like they stretch it out by like they flip the like situation on its head and like why is he here? What is he doing? Oh, it must be this random reason. And it's like, no. Like it's funny because like whatever he does, it can be turned into a coincidence by like thinking hard about it enough, which I found it's pretty funny and interesting to see everybody turn everything he does into something grand, even though it's not.
Because like they fear him. Their knowledge of Ainz is that he is just some undead magic caster that can literally wipe out an entire city with a spell. And that's why they're like, he must be super smart as well as super strong. It's impossible that he would be this strong, but also stupid. And, I mean, the whole...
Little do they know.
Yeah, little do they know, he's actually really dumb. He's not dumb, it's just he's not as smart as people think he is. He knows how to play Yggdrasil. That's about it. He leaves everything else to Albedo and Demiurge, so it's really funny that people even think he's smart at all, because he doesn't really do anything. He just sits there and everyone does things for him. And he coughs and they're like, "Ah, Sasuga Ainz-sama, you're sono sori da." Like, that's what I love about.
Good meme.
That's what I love about the novel, though. That that everyone else is like apparently super smart, but also really dumb because they don't see that Ainz is actually not that smart. Everything he does has a reason, apparently.
Yeah. Everything he does you can divine a meaning from it.
Well,
so I have like...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, part of the reason that that happens is because it's like he does an action, right? But he has no reason to do it. But the more actions he performs, the more that he can link it together, and people will believe it because they're like, "Oh, that makes sense," and they won't like look for a deeper meaning. No one really inspects him under a microscope, except the Emperor. He did that, but he couldn't fathom what was happening because of the coincidences, right? It was just to throw him off the trail. Because the only person in the world that actually watched him and tried to figure out what he was planning was the Emperor. But little did the Emperor know that it wasn't just Ainz planning stuff. It was literally Demiurge doing everything and Albedo doing everything. So he was trying to read the wrong person. I'm fairly certain if the Emperor knew that Demiurge and Albedo were the ones planning this stuff, like for it to happen, like the invasion, using the Empire and all that stuff, the Emperor would be able to battle them in a battle of wits. But unlucky for him, his last out of trying to create an alliance was shattered by Ainz, who was just like, I just want to go see how strong this one person is, and I just want to establish the adventurers thing, and he was just doing his own thing. But it worked. Coincidentally, it worked.
Yeah, even though the Emperor is super smart, I think like so Ainz called the Emperor to Nazarick, and then as soon as the Emperor got there, he was like, "Okay, I'm done with you. You can leave." And then even though the Emperor is so smart, he's like, "Why the fuck did he call me here to just leave?" He couldn't even fathom that Ainz was like, "I don't know what to do with you. I don't know why I called you here."
Well, originally
it was everybody else's idea.
It's because he's dealing with a commoner, right? And he doesn't know how a commoner thinks. He's a king. And when he comes to Nazarick and he learns about the sorcerer, or learns about Ainz, the great magic caster Ainz, and he sees, like, look at all this treasure, look at all this military strength. Like, I could never compete with someone who has a fortress like this. And that's why, and then when he has that bearing, a regal bearing, where it looks like he's a king, that's where Jerkniv is like, oh, shit, this guy is actually like a royalty just like me. So he tries to view him like such. And to his knowledge, someone who's like a noble or has royalty or whatever would never do something as stupid as calling him there for no reason. Because he's had to live his entire life, ever since he was a child, in the political world, right, of nobles and stuff. And he sees how dirty everything is. Everyone does something for their own gain. Versus Ainz, he literally does not. He doesn't have to do anything for his gain. He can just literally do stuff because he wants to. So the Emperor can't fathom that. It makes sense, especially since he was born to what? The Emperor was born to a concubine, I believe. So he was originally never supposed to ascend to the throne, but due to unforeseen circumstance where the next sons or whatever die, and then he took his opportunity when he was older to just take over and do the reforms, the bloody reforms.
I don't know. I don't think it's that like the Emperor is can't understand how a commoner thinks, and he's blinded by the royal political setting. Because like I mean, his rule was pretty anti-royal. Like I would say he's like a friend of the commoner.
Yeah,
kind of.
He only understands it from the point of view of, well, I know how these nobles think. I know how evil and greedy they are. because everyone's set in their own ways. Like when Ainz first saves Carne Village, right? And they're like, there's no way someone would just show up and save us for no reason. Then he has to make up a reason. Oh, I came here to get, though it's not free, you guys have to pay me. And then he traded information. The entire world, they have their biases. And Jerkniv, the emperor, he grew up in the nobles' world where it was dirty. That's why he can't fathom it. Like, it's not that he's not smart enough to understand it. It's that when he first went in, he was thinking like that. And he couldn't stop thinking like that because, like, everything else Ainz was doing was pointing towards, like, no, this dude is trouble. He's super strong, and people who hold power are always greedy, and they're always planning and plotting. He couldn't understand, like, especially if it was so, because the reason the emperor is there is because he's the one who told the noble, go into that unknown tomb, see if we can get anything. So, you know, that's a transgression. And the fact that literally right after he finds out the workers were eliminated, Ainz's crew shows up like, hey, we know what you did. And then they kill a couple hundred people, show up, or else we're going to fucking kill you. And that's why he shows up, 3 days later. He barely had any time to prep. He didn't know anything about Nazarick. He doesn't know anything about Ainz. He just knows that apparently this person's fortress is super strong, and they have ways to find information super fast.
Little does he know that Ainz was pulling the strings all along.
Yeah, that was Demiurge's plan, though. It's all Demiurge's plan. Ainz was just going along with it.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Well,
there it is. So the person who was pulling the strings was really Demiurge, because it was his plan to get the workers to come into Nazarick and stuff, right? So again, the Emperor is trying to view, like, Ainz has apparently the planning capabilities of Demiurge, but then when Ainz acts, he doesn't think at all, which is why it throws him off. He doesn't know what to do, because it's like, apparently I was outplayed by someone super smart, and he's standing in front of me, except it wasn't him. It was actually Demiurge.
Oh, true. And also, I don't think anyone be able to fathom what Ainz did at that moment, because it was just so stupid. It's just unbelievably stupid. I don't think anyone could fathom what he was doing.
So it's like, the reason why he lets Jerkniv go is because they come in with the offering, right? Or prior to the offering, they come in and everyone is shaking in their boots, right? Everyone is feeling. Ainz is releasing a skill of aura, the halo thing, the black thing that is behind him, scares everyone shitless. And there's like thousands of Nazarick Old Guarders, and Death Knights and stuff. There's just a shit ton of army there to show off their military might. Because the original meeting was supposed to be like, we're gonna scare him with how strong we are, so that way he'll eventually submit to us, right? That was Demiurge's plan, and everyone in Nazarick's plan. Ainz was like, sure, that sounds fine. We'll just show our military strength so he doesn't try to do anything funny for now. But the problem was that Demiurge, was like, oh, prostrate yourself. And then everyone prostrates, and then Ainz is like, ah, shit. My subordinate did something without me saying anything. This is super rude, because he wanted to invite the emperor there to learn more about how to be an emperor, about how to be a king, to look good for the rest of his subjects. And that was Ainz's original goal, but it's different from Demiurge's and everyone else in Nazarick's goal, which is why after Demiurge does the transgression and everyone bows down except the emperor, Ainz is like, fuck, I don't want this to become an international, thing. Like, oh, the Sorcerer King is just a fucking idiot, doesn't know how to control his people. He's fucking stupid. Everyone kill him. He didn't want that. That was the worst outcome. Even though, again, we know that Nazarick could basically destroy the entire world by themselves with no help from the outside. But Ainz doesn't know that. And he's super scared, again, because, the shit that happened to Shaltir. The fact that world items are in there, that means there has to be other world items. Of the, 200 world items. That's all I got.
Maybe. Honestly, I don't know why they called Jerkniv there. Like, I don't know what Demiurge wanted. He wanted to show their power, but they already showed their power with, crashing into their palace and killing off their royal guard. I feel like they definitely wanted to do something. But when Ainz was like, you know what, you can leave. That just sounds like, I'm going to declare war on you so you can go. But that's not what he intended. But that's what like a normal person would assume.
Yeah, and
So
that's because Momonga, the human guy, he doesn't know how to be a king. He doesn't know how his actions reflect on others like that. He thought that he had to cover up Demiurge's mistake, and that's all he was thinking about. Versus the Emperor, who's like, oh my god, this guy is super strong, and well, I mean, it ends up being something else because he's continually thinking like, all right, so there's no way a normal king whose land has been trespassed on and tried to rob you would let this go, right? Like, there's no way any noble would do that. That's why he's thinking the entire time, like, why would he let us go when we've sullied his home? And that's why the Emperor is he keeps thinking about it. And the fact that when Ainz is like, all right, you can go now, it's like, oh, you have nothing of value to me. I'm just going to destroy your world.
Yeah.
Because he's thinking of it from a point of view of like, you're a man in power and someone has dirtied your house. What do? Well, I certainly would if I held power like he does. Because, you know, the Emperor believes he's the strongest emperor in the entire world. Like, no one else matches him in wits except Renner and there's one more girl that matches him in wits. I forgot who he said. He says this in the novel, but those are the only people that to him would be a challenge. Everyone else is nothing. So that's why he was like, for someone to have this type of information network and for have this type of control and power, he must be smarter than as smart as me or smarter. So he's just like, you're right. If the Emperor realized that Ainz was just a fucking idiot, none of this would have went as planned. It would have been even easier to manipulate Ainz at all. He actually would have been able to manipulate Ainz. Except I don't actually think the Guardians would allow that to happen if they thought he was doing something bad.
Probably not. But maybe the Guardians would think that Ainz is letting him be manipulated for some grand scheme.
Sasuga Ainz-sama.
But yeah, I initially brought this scene up because like it's just an instance of like complete stupidity that threw off Jerkney's entire like analysis of Ainz, and then coupled with the complete coincidence that Ainz showed up in the arena right when he was having his secret meeting. Like, those two completely unfathomable events combined to destroy Jerkney's a will to resist. So it's like you can't even fight. It's like it's beyond his control. He just it was just something he couldn't comprehend.
It was just bad timing.
There's nothing to comprehend there.
It was just bad timing for Jerkney, honestly. Like,
yeah.
That's what I loved about that chapter, though, or about
like
volume 10. It was just what
I love
a coincidence.
That too. Yeah, and that happens a lot. But I think that was one of the better misunderstandings of the novel. But that's definitely a running thing, and it's really funny to see. So I think like everyone else beyond Nazarick is kind of like expendable. I don't know if you want to talk about anyone else.
Not really. I mean,
anyone else is interesting.
I like Overlord for the main cast. Like, I love that they do world building, but
yeah, even though they focus so much on the like side characters, like so much.
Yeah, like Carne Village with Infidia and
oh my god,
Henry. Yeah,
kill me now.
But it's just, I love the world building, and I love how just like Ainz is just this steamroller that's just waiting in the background as we're setting everything up. You see Bone Daddy just like, oh man, I can't wait to just steamroll everything. That's what
yeah, it's like we're gonna build up this story of these random
lizard folk
village people for like, I don't know, like a whole volume, and then Ainz is just gonna come in for the last chapter and like completely obliterate everyone.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's what Maruyama does. He sets everything up just to get steamrolled at the end by Ainz for some miraculous reason.
Wow.
I mean, to me, I don't really care about anyone else outside of Nazarick. Like, I guess Brain and Gazef. I kind of liked how they
R.I.P.
had. Yeah, R.I.P. Gazef, man. Oh my god. But it's funny because they kind of have like a gay vibe going on, like a little
What?
a little too much respect on Brain's behalf.
What are you? Oh my god, I am the Fudanchi and I don't even see it.
Nah.
It's like, that is total bro. Come on, man, that's a bro. It's not
I don't
gay.
know. They're a little too. I mean,
That's not gay.
it's not. They were two straight men that just, it was just a joke, bro.
I want to fuck.
I just thought it'd be
God.
interesting for because Mariyama did say that he was gonna originally put that in there.
Put what?
That Brain likes Gazef. Like, that was going to be a thing.
What?
Yeah! Yeah, Mario.
Where did you hear this?
He tweeted that he was going to put a love interest for Brain. That was it.
Uh-huh.
He was originally planning to do that.
It is not going to be Gaza.
I know, it was totally going to be
Please.
Gazef.
No.
It totally would have been Gazef. Fuck off. Oh, man. No, it's going to be Climb. He's going to get that booty hole.
No.
Anyway, that Mariyama did say that. He was like, yeah, originally I was going to put a storyline for Brain, but then he's like, nah. So he didn't do it.
I see.
I just speculate that it would have been Gazef.
Well, I think the most interesting character out of Nazarick is probably Renner. I know you don't like Renner.
Fuck that bitch.
I'd like to see more of her because she looks like she was like the sociopathic manipulative bitch that just like, I don't care if I kill the entire kingdom as long as I get to fuck my bitch, aka Climb.
Yeah, she gives off a
Which sounds like an interesting personality. She sounds like she could do some interesting monologues. I'd like to see some Renner monologues.
I mean, her monologues just include that bitch made, I'm gonna totally fucking kill her and shit. And then she just smiles at her. And I'm just like, oh, okay, Renner, you're crazy. She gives off,
Yeah.
what's that? Is it Misery?
She's like-
is that the fucking Stephen King book and movie?
What?
I think it's called Misery. It's a book where the main character guy is an author, a novelist. And then he meets a fan and she's fucking super crazy. And she like, he's in a car crash and then she saves him and nurses him back to health. And then he tries to leave, and then she fucking breaks his legs, so that way she can heal him again, while he writes the next novel. She gives off misery vibes, like as fuck.
Nice. But also, like, she's really smart, so it sounds like she could be, so she could do some interesting narration there. So I'd like to see more of Renner. She has a very hard to pronounce name, but yeah, we have gone like a bajillion minutes on characters. I mean, I guess we can go through a bit more really quickly. So just like with the plot of Overlord in general, I thought that like the basic premise of the story being told from the stereotypical villain's point of view was like a little refreshing and interesting and a good source of comedy as well. Also, I'm always like, who doesn't like the villain anyway? So the villain should just be the MC because
I mean,
that's what everyone wants.
That's what everyone thinks, but I honestly don't think it's from not a chaotic evil point of view, but I definitely say Nazarick's more of a chaotic neutral point of view, like, or at least a chaotic neutral ideology. And it's just chaotic because he's super strong and can just, snap a finger and kill everyone like Thanos.
Well, I wouldn't say Ainz is evil, but he is the leader of evil people.
Well, I mean, Ainz is evil. He's negative 1,000 justice. Like, he feels no empathy for anyone.
But like,
except Nazarick.
But he doesn't like feel the need to. Well, I guess you're right.
Like,
I guess he is evil.
Yeah, he's evil in the sense that if you touch Nazarick, you touch his property, he will go and destroy your entire village and, make sure everyone dies. But as long as you don't do anything to him, he won't go and destroy you. That's why I say he's more of chaotic neutral.
Okay.
It's evil to everyone else's eyes because they're like, you're so strong and you murder us so quickly. Like that.
It's just efficiency. Okay.
They're just afraid of him because he's strong, all right? But that wouldn't necessarily make him evil because, when he's Momon, when he's the adventurer Momon, everyone loves him, right? So it shows that just because he's strong, it depends on his intent. But because people don't understand Ainz's intent when he comes out as the Sorcerer King, and he's an undead, and they have their biases towards the undead, they just think he's evil. Even though in reality, what he's trying to do is like, in Volume 13, when Pope Nea finally realizes like Ainz is justice because Ainz is super strong, so he is justice. But in Volume 11 and 12, and then finally 13, when the Sorcerer King's running around the entire kingdom, or the Holy Kingdom, trying to help out, he's trying to show people like they are just. You need to understand that there's sometimes two evils, and you got to pick the lesser one. Like when there's the kid that gets held as a hostage, and then the people in the Holy Kingdom are like, "Oh, you fiend, stupid ass demi-humans! Like, whoa, we need to save him. He's a capture." He's like, "No, you idiot! Like, you can't. If you let him use them as a shield, then they will kill them, and they'll just keep getting more shields." But the humans are like, "Oh no, we can't do that." And then Ainz is like, "Nah." And then what happens? They kill the kid. They kill that guy's kid in front of him. And then you got to show these demi-humans are out for blood. They don't care about the hostages. The hostages are only worth to them, are any worth to them if they are worth to you, the people coming to save them. Even though Ainz could have actually saved everyone without the humans dying, he wanted to teach them a lesson about strength and about like understanding that if someone is stronger than you, you have to be able to fight them, and that as long as you believe in Ainz, the strongest being in the world, you can reach salvation. And that's kind of his whole pitch, right? You guys aren't strong.
What is?
No, because he's like, you guys aren't strong, but I am. So if you let me take care of everything, you'll be happy. That's what he does when he's in the Holy Kingdom, and that's what Nea does when she realizes like he's right. I'm not strong, but Ainz is strong. The Sorcerer King, His Majesty, is strong enough to save all of us. If we just listen to him, we will all be saved and we will live in peace. And that's what he's trying to promote about the Sorcerer Kingdom. That as long as you listen to me, unfathomable riches will come to you. And that's what happens with the lizard men in the village. That's what happens at the Carne village. And that's what happens to the Iranto. As long as they listen to Ainz and follow his rule, they will all be saved.
So like, what is the meaning of evil? Is it like good intentions, or a lack of good intentions, or is it a lack of good actions? Because you could say that Ainz is evil because he feels nothing from killing humans, but then again a lot of his actions end up saving humans sometimes.
Except when he killed
sometimes except when he killed an entire army. Sometimes his actions save people. So what is being evil and good?
So
who knows?
I would say it's his intent. Ainz's intent, the reason I say chaotic neutral instead of lawful neutral or something, or true neutral.
Okay, go ahead.
Is because he will, even though the only people he cares about is Nazarick. If he had to abandon Carne Village, if he had to abandon Irantil, the Sorcerer Kingdom, or if he had to abandon anyone, he would. If there was a threat of let's say another player character comes in and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go destroy Irantil because we want to fight you," but he doesn't have enough information to fight these people, he would definitely let the Sorcerer Kingdom Irantil get destroyed, as long as Nazarick is safe.
So are you saying that he has bad intentions?
I'm saying his intentions are always to just keep this. It's neutral intentions.
What?
I'm saying he's chaotic.
You
neutral.
are such a horrible judge of personality.
I don't care what you think. I'm just saying that's what I feel like, that he's
God.
chaotic neutral.
Jesus Christ. Listen, he's an evil person.
No, he's chaotic neutral. He's not chaotic evil.
No. Anyways. We will agree to disagree. He is a cold-blooded killer.
Yes.
And yes.
I mean,
okay.
technically he's undead, so he has no blood. But go on.
No. Oh my God. Okay. Another big part of Overlord, which we haven't talked about yet, is that most of the fights are one-sided, and that's like a big gimmick of the franchise. Is that it's all about the Nazarick team just one-sidedly overpowering whoever is fighting them, except for the Shaltier versus Ainz fight. That was like pretty even, but everything else, they build up all of the tension, and then it's just a completely one-sided massacre or a completely one-sided trampling. So, I mean, I think that's like, I know you are into the OPMC that just overpowers everyone sort of
Hell
trope.
yeah, I love that shit.
I guess that's a lot. That's common in light novels.
It's pretty common in a lot of isekai, yes, where your main character is transported to a new world and has some cheat ability or retain their memories of the past, which makes them super smart or super strong. It's just a thing.
I see.
I mean, what would make it an isekai?
I think Overlord does it. Do you think Overlord kind of goes overboard, or is it just another one of the tropes?
No, I think Overlord definitely is not as overboard as a bunch of other isekai, actually, because it's been clearly stated that levels are basically what matter here, because Entama does get destroyed by Evil Eye and Tia and Gagaron, except when they go against someone who's level 100, like Demiurge, they get fucking wrecked. So if it was someone else, it all depends on their levels. Like if the people of the New World weren't so weak, they wouldn't be getting steamrolled. But the fact of the matter is that they are that weak, and there's only a select few people who actually have like levels above 40. It's hard, and they don't even know about the existence of levels. That there's a level cap at 100.
That sounds like the name of a light novel as well. They didn't even know the existence of levels until Mumanga. Okay.
Ainz.
Yeah, you're right. Some of the battles are pretty even, but just like I feel like all the hyped up battles are the ones that are one-sided. Because like honestly, I didn't care about the Ainz-sama battle. All the battles I cared about were one-sided.
Yeah.
Anyways, well, to me, who is not that experienced in the isekai genre, I think it was refreshing. It was different. I wouldn't call it refreshing. It's different. Because like sometimes it's kind of, I feel cucked. I'm like, why did you build this all up for him just to like, this is kind of boring.
To just, grasp heart dead.
Yeah. It's like, it's different. It's interesting. I'm sure I'll eventually get tired of it, but it's something. There's something there. So I have a question. Do you think that the details of how exactly Momonga entered the new world will ever be revealed? Because, like, I mean, theoretically, he was on a quest to figure this out in a roundabout way by finding anyone else who came into the world. But I don't know if that plotline is ever going to get picked up again, because we've moved on from finding other people to world domination, which I'm like, I mean, that's a whole other issue, because like when Maruyama switched the motivation to world domination, even though he didn't actually want it, he's just going with the flow, that kind of just throws out the old motivation of finding other people, because now we're just going to dominate everyone.
Well,
so like, what was the point of the first motivation in the first place?
So the thing is, even when he was still Momonga, he didn't care about how he came to that world. He was like, I have nothing back home anyway, so I guess I should find a way to go back home, but I don't really care about going back home. He states that very clearly.
I mean, like,
and
finding the reason why he came here doesn't necessarily have to be correlated with going back home, because if you know why you came here, then you can better protect yourself from enemies in here.
Which is why he goes with the world domination plot, because once it's finally revealed to him after like 9 volumes or some shit, and he's like, what, we're doing world domination? to not look like an idiot in front of his subordinates. He's like, oh, well, I mean, yeah, totally, yeah, we're doing world domination, yeah. And he's like, well, I guess it should be fine, because if we dominate the world and create our own kingdom and shit, then people will always know the name Ainz-sama.
I guess so.
It just is like, well, it kind of completes my first objective, which is spreading my name and seeing if there's any other players around. Which, again, fucks with me, because I'm like, wait, but in the very first fucking 2 volumes, you know that the Slain Theocracy has information. You know that the 6 gods were obviously players. That's why they have all this shit from Yggdrasil. So your main objective, why aren't you going to attack the Slain Theocracy to fucking find out more about the 6 gods? I don't understand you.
But didn't he originally not want to, like, make him the public enemy number 1, because then any players that exist would want to kill him?
Yeah, which is why
And
he
then
keeps
now
trying
that
to find more players by, like, you know, oh, I'm going to go cast this thing and look around. You see anyone? No? All right, time to steamroll.
But, like, wouldn't world domination be making you public enemy number 1?
No, not necessarily, because he's spreading, you know, he's saving, like, when in volume 11, he saves those orc people, right? Is that volume 11? That's volume 11 or 12. I forget. But, you know, when he goes to that one demi-human town and he finds them experimenting on orcs, he was like, yo, this is super fucked up. And he saves them. It's like, yeah, you guys can live in my country. Don't worry. I'm building a country that everyone can live in. Because he's trying to rebuild Nazarick, but as a country. Like, that becomes his new goal. After, it's not really world domination, but spreading his name. That here in the Sorcerer Kingdom, we all can live together.
Yeah, I think he's trying to dominate people through an outside force that he's disguising as not himself, and then coming himself to save them, and then becoming their new overlord.
See, that's
Overlord.
Demiurge's plan, though. That's not Ainz's plan.
But, like, oh my god, girl, does Ainz have any plans?
No, he doesn't.
he just piggybacks on everyone else. So
Yeah.
Was that Demiurge's plan, though? I feel like Demiurge's plan must have been a bit more cruel.
No, so, like, the original plan to make the Empire a vassal state was that after about a month or so, they would start skirmishing with the kingdom and saying, like, oh, you guys need to give us this or that, and you need to surrender. And then they wouldn't, because they would be working with Renner. And then they would just steamroll the entire kingdom in one night. And then the Empire and it was they would either kill the Holy Kingdom, I believe, or the Kingdom. I think it was the Holy Kingdom that they were going to actually kill. I don't remember. I don't remember very specifically. They were going to kill one of the other states to create, to make the Empire a vassal state. So it was all part of Demiurge's plan of, like, we're just going to crush people as an example and make everyone, and then just subjugate everyone else who doesn't agree.
Wait, that is completely not the plan that they went with.
No, because that's why Ainz, because Ainz got the vassal state in 3 days instead of a month. Demiurge's original plan was like, yeah, we're going to, like, slowly get this done and then crush one of the other kingdoms to show our force. Then everyone else won't fuck with us anymore. And then they would slowly move into the rest of the kingdoms and stuff.
I was saying, like, the way that they conquered the Holy Kingdom, in that they created a threat that couldn't be identified as Nazarick, and then they saved it as Nazarick. I think that's the formula that they want to use.
Well, it's the formula that Demiurge is using, yes. And
yeah,
Ainz has no idea what Demiurge is doing. Like, he's just like, well, you're obviously doing this for the benefit of Nazarick, and I don't care if you slaughter humans or demi-humans, as long as losses of Nazarick are minimized. That's all he cares about, right? Because, again, Ainz is chaotic neutral. He doesn't care if people die. He's not lawful. He doesn't care.
I think no, but, like, Demiurge with the skinning of the humans to make the magic scrolls.
The Albanian.
He doesn't tell Ainz.
Albanian sheep.
He doesn't tell Ainz that because Ainz would not approve. Because I think Ainz wants to refrain from killing innocent humans if possible.
Yeah, and
I think
he makes that very clear. He's like, only criminals and stuff are to be killed and tortured. Anyone who's deemed innocent, just kill them instantly.
What? No.
Yeah, that's what he says.
I'm pretty sure, like,
He doesn't care. He
Some
doesn't want people to be saved. If he doesn't have to save them, he won't. Right? So he promised them. He says that you can kill innocent people as long as you do it like mercy like. Like let's say it was I don't know, a group of fucking bandits showed up at Nazareth, right? And they had the that's what it was, the elf slaves. So the elf slaves that one shitty ass human brought into Nazareth, they were spared from Ainz's wrath because they had nothing to do with this. Like they were slaves, right? And they were given the choice of whether they want to live in Nazareth and work for Ainz, or they could be killed, or sent back because it was like, well, I mean, it's not your fault that you're here. You're slaves, and they obviously detested humans anyway, so it was fine. As long as you don't raise your hand against Nazareth, you should be fine. And the Holy Kingdom was the ones denouncing the Sorcerer Kingdom. They're like, yeah, no, led by an undead piece of shit that goes against God's will. Which is kind of like, well, that's why you're a target now.
Wow. Okay.
That's what happened.
Well, sure. So, going on with what I previously said, like, if we ever get to the point where we figure out what exactly happened to make Momonga come into this new world, I feel like whatever explanation Mariyama gives is going to be bad. So I don't know if I actually want to hear that.
I mean, I don't want to hear it because honestly, it's always bad. Like every isekai,
But the thing
every
is that,
isekai's method of like transportation was hit by truck-kun or some tragic death reincarnated as something, right? That's the trope. You were reincarnated. But for Overlord, he wasn't reincarnated. He was just transported to another world, which is still another trope. There's plenty of them where it's like you didn't die, magic summoning circle, world's in danger, need to save. It's a lot of that, and honestly, it's just gonna be a cop out because and they usually do this in the beginning, which is why it's fine for isekai because everyone knows like, well, how else do you go into a new world? Either you die or you get summoned, right? Or you trip.
Sure.
You trip and fall into a pond, and then it transports you to...
Oh my gosh. You fall into a toilet.
No.
I'm pretty sure there's an isekai with
Probably. I don't know. God drops a plant on your head.
What?
Yeah, there's an isekai like that. God drops a potted plant and kills a human. He's like, my bad.
Oh, that's just you're running out of ideas at that point.
Yeah.
But the thing is that, like, one of the main plot points is that they're trying to figure out, who came here and how did they come here. So I feel like we're going to eventually have to get to that point. And I'm like, I don't want to get to that point. So I hope something changes in that motivation or in that plot point because the end game is not looking too great.
I mean, we got 7 more volumes to go, so we'll see.
Wait, so it's 20 volumes?
Yeah, Mariyama said it's going to be 20. He has ideas for up to like 60, but he's only going to do 20 volumes.
60?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Girl, get your fucking shit straight. Stop giving me these side stories. Get to the main plot. Oh, God. But yeah, so what do you think the end game of Overlord is going to be? Because, like, I can see it just being... same old, where, misunderstandings, one-sided battles, being overly cautious for nothing, and then just, big surprise, you were worried about nothing, let's kill everyone, just over and over again. Or do you think that someone is actually going to show up that is stronger than Momonga, and then he's going to kill him?
So I feel like it's still going to be him steamrolling everyone else that... I guess they wouldn't be ready. So there are a few people that could challenge Momonga. One of them would be like the Star Platinum Dragon Lord. He has the strength to fight someone like Shao Tier, who is heavily armed, right?
Which one is the Platinum Dragon Lord?
The one that talks to the old lady about the guild weapon. It's one of the intermissions. So there.
And wait, who do we know who the Platinum Lord is aligned with?
He's apparently one of the 13 heroes.
Is he aligned with the Slain Theocracy?
He's not aligned with anyone. He's his own party. And then they have the Godkin adventurer Rigrit, who is, has Godkin powers. And the only one... So like those two, for example, they know about the existence of guild weapons. They know about well, the Star Platinum Dragon Lord has lived forever, so he knows about like a bunch of other people that reincarnated, and the fact that he's still alive says a lot of things about like, all right, so there's this dude who's been around since the low level players have been here, so maybe he is strong, maybe not, maybe we don't know. It's a lot of speculation.
I mean, the other members of his species are not.
Well, that's because they were only Frost Lords. They weren't Star Platinum.
I know.
Or,
oh my God, Star Platinum. That should be like a t-shirt. You weren't Star Platinum, so you died.
I definitely think that Maruyama's going to put in characters that actually can challenge Ainz.
Honestly, I don't think anybody that's been introduced yet could possibly challenge Ainz, but I feel like the way that Overlord is written, in that Ainz is always careful about, people who are going to kill him. And then, so he's like, there's like clearly foreshadowing that someone's gonna come and kill him because he's always worried about someone trying to kill him. And we see that he does trip up a lot. He does make mistakes, even though he's really cautious. And I feel like one of these mistakes is gonna come bite him back. I feel like there's a lot of foreshadowing for that, but I don't know if Maruyama has the balls to do that.
I definitely don't think that Momonga will ever die. Like,
I feel like that's like the natural ending. I feel like that's where this should be going.
No, he can't die. He's undead.
Oh, fuck you. Purify. Purification.
So the thing is, like, because he's an undead, he doesn't age and stuff. The rest of the players and stuff, like the 13 heroes and the 6 gods, they were all human characters, so they aged. But because he's an undead, I don't think he's going to age. And if someone comes and attacks him, right, like kills him, I think it'll just be like a play. And he's just going to return back to Nazarick, back into like underground, and just live there and silently control everything from the shadows.
Oh my gosh. So what would your dream ending be?
My dream ending? He just destroys the entire world. Come on.
Can you stop? He's not gonna do that.
That's what I want, though. I want him to subjugate the entire world.
Oh my God, wait, why? Oh wait, no, subjugate. That's different from destroying.
Or destroy the current old world or new world. Destroy all their conceptions about slaves.
Proverbially or like literally?
Proverbially, of course.
Okay, glad you clarified that. I mean, that's not bad. I feel like him dying would be more interesting, honestly.
No. Bone Daddy can't die.
I want someone to come fuck up all of Nazarick.
No.
I want someone to go kill every single person there.
That's terrible.
Because I think, oh my God, I like them all, but I think it would be a very interesting fight.
I don't think Maruyama would ever do that.
Yes, Maruyama, do it. Pull the trigger. Okay. So we've been talking about this for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah, I know.
Much longer than I thought we were going to.
Really? With me on the podcast about Overlord? The one thing I never shut up about?
Oh, please. You started this podcast with like, oh, I'm so tired. Please let me go to sleep.
Because I just woke up.
So, like, yeah, so why don't you go to sleep? No. So, any last thoughts on Overlord, John?
Season 3 fucking blew. Still love the light novels. I hope season 4 is good. That's about it.
I don't think season 4 will be any better. But you can hope. You can hope. Well, I think that's it. So, thank you all out there for dropping in to listen to us. We hope you enjoyed it because we sure enjoyed bringing it to you. If you want to check out previous episodes of the podcast, you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. If you want to keep up with what we're doing and have a little more fun, you can join our Discord server, become a member of our Facebook group, follow our Twitch channel, and visit our website. And if you have any questions, comments, or criticisms of this or any episode, feel free to shoot us an email. Links to all these things are down below in the description. I've been your host, Sho, and I will see you next time. Say goodnight, John.
I mean, good morning because it's morning, but good afternoon to you.
Hey, listen, it's night in Japan. We go by the Japan time because we're weebs.
さすが我々の造物主。 さすがでございます。さすがは至高の御方。さすがはアインズ様。さすがはアインズ様。さすがでござるな。さすがアインズ様。さすがはアインズ様。
さすがはアインズ様。
さすがは至高の御君。さすがはアインズ様。
さすがはアインズ社長。